This morning we are continuing our series, The 7 Habits of Successful People. You guys learned anything so far? Has any of these messages helped you? They've helped me. I'm like, man, I'm learning some stuff that I know I've probably heard before, but it's really helping me out. And today we're talking about synergy. Now, what does that word even mean? Synergy, the definition of synergy is, if you can put the next slide up there, the definition of synergy, the creation of a whole that is greater than the simple sum of its parts. And I don't know about you, when I first read that, I'm thinking, what? So I like things simple. So it comes from a Greek word that means working together. So we're going to be talking about teamwork, working together. We're going to be talking about the fact that we're better off together than we are by ourselves. And I got a couple of simple illustrations to kind of demonstrate this idea or concept of synergy. So 2 examples of synergy. 1, flashlight and batteries. I guess I was supposed to do this before I got up here. Hope I don't break stuff up here that can be destructive. Okay. So on the one hand, you kids paying attention? Okay, I'm not doing a magic trick, but yeah. I've got a a flashlight. It's not doing a whole lot, right? So on one hand I got a flashlight, the other hand I have batteries. So separate objects that separated and apart can't really do what they were created to do. I have something that can give light, but without a power source can't give the light. I've got a power source, but without something to give the power to, not really worth a whole lot. I guess you could use them maybe for a paperweight or something. But other than that, they don't do what they were designed to do. But let's see if I can do this without breaking it. Okay. Put them together, as my daughter would say, voila. Put them together and guess what you got? I promise this worked. I did this earlier and it worked. This is horrible. This is every public speaker's worst nightmare. All right. Look at that. I've got light, okay? They're synergized. Thank you. That's synergy. Those separate objects that really by themselves couldn't accomplish what they were created to accomplish, you put them together and you've got light. Well, I've got a second example. 1 + 1 = 3. I know we've got some young kids in here, and I am not trying to mess with your minds or mess with your education, okay? Your parents will get you home and they'll get you straight. They'll say, I know Mr. Nick said 1 + 1 = 3, but it's really 2. All right? Now, in the real world, in real math, as you young kids know, 1 + 1 = what? Thank you, 2. Now, I know I got up here it says = 3, because when you're talking about synergy, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It equals 3. It can equal greater than that. Now, you say, well, what are you talking about? Yesterday on Facebook, Adrian posted this really cool example that helps define what that means. He said, I don't remember where this happened at. It sounded like they were having some kind of animal Olympics or something, farm Olympics. But they took these ox, and they had a contest to see which ox could pull the most weight. So the winning ox pulled 9,000 pounds. Now, the runner-up pulled maybe slightly less than that, almost 9,000 pounds. So they got together and said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to put these two together to see how much weight could they pull if they pulled together, right? So you'd think 9,000 pounds, slightly less than 9,000. If they pull together, you're thinking about 18,000 pounds, right? Because 1 + 1 = 2. But the power of synergy, guess what? When those two pulled together, it was over 26,000 pounds. That's the power of synergy. That's the power of working together with others. Together, we can do more than we can by ourselves. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the 3 benefits of synergy. But before we get into that, and you can keep that up there, but before I get into that, this all sounds great, working together with other people, right? Teamwork, synergy, cool sounding words, get you all fired up. But you all know as well as I do, it's easier said than done, isn't it? How many of you have ever worked with other people? Yeah. How does that go? Sometimes it goes okay, right? I'll tell you, in my life growing up, and I by the grace of God, I'm getting better, I've always been a loner. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with the hassle of working with other people, because I've come to realize Everybody in the whole world doesn't think like I do. I don't know why. It boggles my brain that everybody doesn't see things like I do or doesn't process exactly like I do. Don't you find that weird and strange? Don't you just wish the whole world thought like you did? We all wish that. And then you go and work with somebody else and you realize, wait a second, they don't think like I do. They don't do things like I do. And you try to work with a person, you get married to a person who doesn't think like you do, who doesn't do things like you do, and it can kind of cause some conflict, right? You live with people in family, they don't act like you, they don't think like you. You work with people who don't think and act like you, and it makes this thing called teamwork hard. Anybody in here ever been let down by somebody? Disappointed by somebody you were working with? All of us could probably raise our hands. I know we could. And so because of that, we've kind of learned to we are a nation of do-it-yourselfers. You see it all the time like Lowe's and Home Depot, and I'm not trying to take business away from them. I use those stores too, but it's all about do-it-yourself. And there's some value in being able to do some things yourself and not always having to call somebody for help, but eventually you're going to run into something you cannot do yourself. And if you're a loner and you're not used to depending on and working with other people, what do you do when you run into a situation like that? So again, let's talk about the benefits of synergy. Number one, we're better together than we are alone. And we're going to unpack these more as we go along. Number two, we can help each other grow. And number three, we can accomplish more together. So let's take a look at this first one. We are better together than we are alone. And I really like this verse in Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, two people lying close together can help each other keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. And what those verses are just kind of summing up, again, is that we are better together, living together in a community. Whether that's a church community here at the Bridge, a neighborhood community, a family unit in a home, however you want to slice it up, we're better living together with other people than we are by ourselves. And I'll tell you what, my wife and I this weekend have kind of learned the value of that. Friday afternoon, our home was broken into. And I know many of you probably here can relate to that example. And now my wife, if any of you are friends with us on Facebook, you know she puts our life out on social media. I'm not a big social media guy, but so she puts it out there, and we have we live in the Mott Park neighborhood of Flint, and they have a neighborhood Facebook page, so she puts it out there almost immediately, hey, be warned, we've been broken into, and gets the news out there. Well, I'll tell you what, and not only that, but on our normal Facebook page. And almost immediately, there were responses. There were people, hey, we're praying for you. There were people in our neighborhood that called the next day and said, hey, we saw something, kind of helped giving us information about what happened and who did it. Corbin came and took a look at our window that they broke to get in and is helping to fix it. I mean, people called and said, hey, you can stay with us. One of Annie's coworkers said they took our TV. They're like, hey, I'll bring a TV over if you need a TV, because we're Americans, we can't live without a TV, right? But it was just amazing, just the outpour of people who came in to help support. When you face a difficult situation in your life, it's so much easier to handle it when you have people with you, and you have a community kind of holding you up in any kind of way, whether it's through prayer or practical help. We knew we weren't alone, and that helps, And I know all of us have faced difficult situations in our lives, but have you faced it alone? What do you do if you don't have anybody? What do you do if you're not really connected, involved, and don't have relationships? Who comes to your aid when you fall? When you're struggling, who knows it? It's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a noise? I'm not here to debate, get into that philosophical debate. But if you fall and no one knows, who helps you? And so again, there's value in this synergy, in this teamwork, in working together in relationship with other people, because when you're struggling, then they'll come to your aid. Or vice versa. If you know somebody that's struggling, you can come to their aid. So that's the first benefit of synergy, that we're better off together, living in a community, than we are living unto ourselves, because people can help us when we face tough situations in life, and we can help others. Number 2, we can help each other grow. And this is Ephesians 4:16. The Apostle Paul writes, He makes the whole body fit together perfectly, as each part does its own special work. It helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. Paul loved to use the analogy of the human body to describe the church. Now, I know you guys here at the Bridge know, is this building the church? No. Who's the church? We are. And the Bible calls us the body of Christ. And there's a reason for that. Because you think about the human body, there's a lot of parts going to making the human body, right? There's fingers, there's toes, there's ears, there's nose. I wish I knew that little song. Maybe one of the kids would sing it, all the different parts of the bodies you learn when you're a little kid. But Paul describes the body as a many-membered part, and every part has its own special function. The ears for hearing, the nose for smelling, the mouth for speaking, all these different parts, but they come together and they make one body. Now, who in here would want to do without any part of your body? Probably none of us, right? And when one part of your body is hurting, the whole body suffers. You stub that little toe in the middle of the night, believe you me, it may be a little member of your body, but the whole body hurts. And the thing about a body, as Paul talked about there in Ephesians, when each individual member supplies its own special talent or gift or ability that they bring, then the entire body grows. And what that means is every single one of you is uniquely and individually made and designed by God. All of us in here. All of us have something to offer. You have gifts and talents that I don't have. I have gifts and abilities that you don't have. I have strengths that are to you maybe a weakness. And maybe a strength to you is a weakness to me. But if you put them together, all of a sudden, where you're strong and I'm weak, it shores that up. Like, I don't know nothing about fixing cars. Well, I don't say nothing, but maybe about 1%. Very little about fixing cars. But we have somebody in our church, Steve Lang. How many ever have had Steve fix your car for you? Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. See, he met a need you had, right? There was a weakness because you couldn't fix it yourself, and he could fix it. And there's many other examples like that. For me, when I start listening to things I can't do, it's going to get long. So I'm not a high-tech guy, okay? I come in the morning, I've learned to kind of put the little presentation slideshow together, but I rely on Travis. Give Travis a hand, you guys. I want to tell you what. Travis does a lot. I mean, I don't know if Travis knows how to juggle, like real juggling, but what he does is juggling, because he's trying to handle this and that, and then he's like, have you ever seen the Minority Report with Tom Cruise? And he's got that little thing in front of him, he's like, I think that's how Travis's brain probably looks. If you could open his head and see inside his brain, I think he'd see, and he just juggles this stuff so seamlessly. And I come in him in the morning and I say, hey man, can you, and I borrowed Jack's little flash drive, and I did buy my own, but I need a team. And Travis helps me in that area because he's got that skill that I don't have. I'm weak in that area. I don't understand those things. And so that's the power of synergy and teamwork and a body. But the key is we need everybody to offer the talents and abilities that they have. Because if I don't give to the body the gift and talent that God has given me to give to the body, then in effect, I'm kind of robbing. I'm robbing the body. I'm depriving the body of a member. Like I said, who in here would want to do without, if I could say, okay, I'll take a finger or a toe, which one do you choose? Neither. I want all my fingers and I want all my toes. But if I don't give to this body, this congregation of believers at the Bridge, the gifts and the abilities that God has given me, and again, I've deprived this body of a member. And together we help each other grow. Well, number 3, the third benefit of synergy. We can accomplish more together. And this is going to bring us back to that 1 + 1 = 3, because I know that math doesn't make sense, right? And if this kind of brings us back to the 1 + 1 = 3, then the analogy of the body brings us back to the flashlight and the batteries. See, separate and apart, it doesn't work. But you put it together. You know, the Bible says we're supposed to be the light of the world. He's the battery. He's the power. But we need each other. And so put it all together and it works right. Same thing here. We can accomplish more together. 1 + 1 = 3 today. Okay, kids, again, I'm not trying to mess your math up. Parents, fix what I've broken when you get home, okay? Leviticus 26:8. Probably very few people read the book of Leviticus. Kind of boring stuff. Some of it's kind of disgusting when they talk about cutting animals up and all that stuff. But anyway, this is a cool verse. 5 of you, and this verse is in the context of Moses explaining to the children of Israel what will happen when you follow God in your life. When you obey God and you put Him first in your life, these are the things that will happen. This is in that list. 5 of you will chase 100. Now let's do some math again. 5 times 20 is 100. I think I'm right there. I don't usually do math without a calculator, but I do believe 5 times 20 is 100, okay? So 20 times is what we're talking about. So 5 of you will chase 100. Then he says 100 of you will chase. Now, if you do the math from the previous one, what's 20 times 100? Somebody help me out. 2,000, right? So you would think, okay, if 5 can chase 100, then 100 should chase 200. It says, no, 100 you will chase 10,000. The math has jumped up exponentially. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3. The power grows the more that people come together and work together. One of the greatest areas you can see this in our faith walk is in prayer. Think about this applied to prayer. I know we can all have our relationship with God by ourselves. We can all pray to God ourselves, and you should do that. We should have a prayer life or time that we individually spend with God. Jesus did that. He modeled that. But you know what? You look in the book of Acts, you read the early church, when they prayed together. There was always a gathering of people. You know, like I said, my wife and I found out there's power when you get people praying for you, a group of people. The more you have, the more powerful it is. Jack Prophet, every day, a lot of you contact him with prayer requests, and he sends it out on an email or a text, and a lot of people get that, and it gets people praying. The more people you got praying, the better off you are. Think about it in the natural. If you want to protest or demonstrate something, let's say a couple of you get together and say, we're going to go protest something. I don't know. The fact that the city of Flint won't be picking up your trash this week. But I'm not encouraging protest here or civil unrest. But say you want to protest something. A couple of you get together and you go downtown, protest. How effective do you think that's going to be? A couple people. You might get somebody, I want you guys shut up, or something. Now, what if you get about 10,000 people to protest? You think that'll have a bigger impact? Now, think about prayer and going before God and assaulting the throne of God. We can all pray our individual prayers about our individual needs, but what if we come together as a body and we cry out to God as one and say, God, will you move? Do you think God will be more likely to hear that versus one? I think so. There's power, there's synergy when we come together and cry out and worship together and cry out to God together. Again, I'm not saying God won't answer individual prayers. I do believe He does. But there's something about the power of this synergy when people come together. I want to play a brief video that kind of sums up what I've been talking about with synergy. So go ahead.
What was I saying about an agenda? I have an agenda, which is that I have to immediately increase the ad pages here by 20%.
20%? Carter, only a startup magazine can do that.
Yeah, well, I think this team can do it, Dan.
How?
Well, Morty, basically what we'd have to do...
That's an awesome question. How? And the answer is synergy. We need to team up here. Yeah, we need to synchronize and we need to synergize. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're part of one of the biggest multimedia and brand name companies in the known universe, okay? Let's take advantage of that. Like Crispity Crunch. Did anyone know that one of our sister companies is Crispity Crunch? So we talk to our brothers and sisters over at Crispity Crunch and make a deal where we supply sports factoids to their boxes. So that when Joe Couch Potato is sitting there, he's snacking, he looks down, and what does he say? Sports America Crispity Crunch Sports Factoids. He's definitely buying more Crispity Crunch and not Crunch and Crackle, which, by the way, looks and tastes exactly the same, but guess what? No sports factoids. And Crispity Crunch is so happy that they guarantee us 28 pages a year, besides which they know if they don't, Teddy K is going to be pissed. What is that? What am I talking about here, people? Synergy.
If you're like me, and you're a loner and a do-it-yourselfer, and you're like keeping people at kind of an arm's length and a distance, I hope today I've been able to say enough to at least get you to consider the value of working together with others, the benefits of synergy, the benefits of teamwork. Will you begin to let the walls down in your life? I know you've been hurt. I know you've been let down. I know it's hard. I know it's a risk. Life is risky. Everything we do has a risk involved. But there's a benefit to it. There's value in involving people in your life. There's value in us as a body, as the bridge, coming together. Not only coming together with us here, but coming together with other believers, other churches in this area. It's going to take us all to make a difference in this city, to make a difference in this nation. We need each other. We cannot do it alone. You can be effective by yourself. I'm not saying there's some measure of what we can do by ourselves, but we can do so much more if we work together, if we pool our resources, if we team up. So will you let go of that fear? Will you see the value of teamwork and cooperation? And will you offer to this local body, if this is your home church, if you consider the Bridge your home church, will you offer your skills, your time, your resources, whatever it is you have to offer? And everyone has something to offer. Everyone. And as we close today, as the band comes back up, we're going to give you kind of an opportunity. There's something we can do together as a body. Because sometimes we need something to focus our energies and our attention to. How many of you know we have more of a building behind the stage? We have probably, I think, twice as much space as what we're using here at the Bridge that lies unused, unopened. And there's dreams for that. There's goals of a cafe, a 24/7 cafe where people can come and hear the gospel and drink a good cup of coffee and maybe get some prayer, maybe get some help. There's more people we could fit. There's more things. There's greater needs we could meet in this community around us if we could open up this building. Why don't I tell you, it takes money to open up and develop the rest of this building. And so I'm going to ask a team of people here, before we take the offering this morning, to come up and kind of explain to you a fundraiser that we're going to be doing. So I will turn it over briefly to George and his team.
Thank you, Nick, very much. I think the synergy made your point very well, and as we come together here, we're wanting to open up this back part of our building. We're only using, I think, like 40% here, something like that. There's a banner up on the wall back behind you on that back wall that explains a little bit our fundraiser to open it up. Now, we have a need for about $7,500 to open it up, but we're not asking for $7,500. And as Barb is going to explain here, and Robert is part of this committee of bringing this to our attention and together to make this happen, she's going to explain how we're going to, how do you eat elephant? Well, I've been told you eat elephant one bite at a time. So we're going to do one bite at a time, to get this open, and we're going to ask everybody to just reach in their pockets a little deeper and help us out to get that open. Not interfering with our normal tithe that we give to the church, but over and above. A sacrifice, if you please, a one less Wendy's or whatever. We're gonna. So Bob's going to explain how that's going to work.
First of all, our goal is $2,500 to open up the kids zone. So our focus, as he said, it's a small bite. We want to get the kids zone open. Right now, the kids zone, the kids are in the back of the stage. They can barely hear the rest. And it's not safe. We can't secure the area. So we'd like to raise our goal of $2,500 to get started, get our permits, and get started opening up the kids zone over the next building over, so that we can have secure checking and keep the kids safe. The way that we want to do that, with your regular giving, your regular offering on your check or your envelope, if you just a portion that you'd like to give towards this project, this right kids zone, and the amount that you would like to give towards that. I'm excited because we have an anonymous donor who has said that he will match our funds dollar for dollar up to $1,000. So that's like half of our goal. If we get that $1,000, we'll have $2,000 already. We can do this. Just a little each week, and as a matter of fact, we already have $75, which is $150. So just asking just a little above what you normally give. Let's get our kids into a safe area where the parents can know that they're okay, and the kids can hear the word of God, because our teachers, the Sunday school teachers, are actually teaching them about what we've done and we want. So let's all get together and do that. And the sign we're going to add on to that, so you'll be able to see the program. Okay? And that's about it.
Very much. You can take that one. Just turn it. Here you go. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Give them a hand. Thank you, guys, for organizing that. I like what she said. There is an anonymous donor who will match. That's synergy. We raise 1,000, it becomes 2,000. That's synergy. So with that, if the band would come back up and get ready to worship some more, and if the ushers could come, and we'll get ready to take up the offering, and I'll dismiss us in prayer. Again, I want to remind you guys, there's power in teamwork. There's power in togetherness. We need each other. We are stronger together. Oh, I'm sorry. I always forget this part. Thank you, Travis. That's why I need you, man. What I want you to know, what I want you to do, we are better together than we are alone. And what I want you to do this week, team up with someone else this week. Accomplish something you would normally do alone. It can be something simple, something big. Maybe you put puzzles together. Have somebody else help you. Something. Find something you normally do yourself. Get somebody involved and see the value of teamwork. Father, I thank you for this group of people. I thank you that you sent your son to die for us. I thank you for the kids that were in here this morning. Thank you for their love. I pray for the children this morning, God, that, Lord, that you would speak to their hearts. God, that you would strengthen them, God, as they worship you, as they dance. Lord, that they would know you. God, that we would all come to know you more. Help us to grow as a body. Help us to work together. Help us to have synergy and teamwork here in the bridge and in our homes and in our communities. And I just pray a blessing over this body in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, guys.